1340 KVGC, the show, everything old is new again. Saturdays at 6, Sunday at 6. Our host, Douglas Viviani, I guess I should say our hosts, Douglas Viviani and David Cohn. We've got Douglas on the phone with us for our weekly chat about America's entertainment pop culture talk show, Everything Old is New Again. Douglas, how was your week?
Good morning. My week was very good. The day today is starting kind of odd because it's snowing again in New York. So I'm looking forward to spring training, which I just heard a Mets game a couple days ago, the first spring training game of the year. Great time of year in New York, especially at least as far as weather. We love to look down to Florida or Arizona and see the spring training with the nice weather. I don't know. How about you?
Let me ask you a question. Let's veer off this for just a moment because I don't know if I had the fortune or misfortune. My wife and I have not watched any of the debates at all, and I don't pay attention to any of the poll numbers or any results until November. Okay, that's when I pay attention. So I'm watching this, and I'm thinking Thursday night was the Republican debate. Do people in New York, do they like Donald Trump?
They love Donald Trump for the most part.
Okay.
He's basically saved New York back in the 80s and 90s. Just one example alone is this: there was a ice rink in Central Park that the government could not, for the life of them, figure out how to fix it, whatever the problem was. They spent millions and millions of taxpayer money. It was going nowhere. Donald Trump said, "What are you guys doing here?" He came along for free and fixed the rink. Of course, he took the concessions, thereafter as part of the deal, but still fixed the rink in like 2 months, and it's been running terrific ever since. Just one example. He knows what he's doing when it comes to this stuff. Not to be political, but bottom line is, New Yorkers love him because New Yorkers want things done and cannot stand anything but the truth. Hate to say it. There's a lot of nonsense going on in New York City and so forth. But sooner or later, we pay attention, and when we do, because we have our own lives, as everybody does, right? But sooner or later, when you do, you look around and see what's happening. The go-getters and the winners, New York loves a winner, are the ones that garner attention.
Well, I don't know if you know this or not, but everybody on the West Coast, at least in Jackson, is talking about the big Bowl-orama, the big bowl-a-thon that's going to go on at your neighborhood bowling alley. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that at all?
Absolutely. There's a local organization called YDA, which I'm actually on the board of trustees of the president at this point. And the purpose of the YDA is for the local kids in East Northport and the town to kind of provide them an after-school activity to do or on the weekends, keep them busy and off the streets, and so that we've got no wayward children growing up from any ages. And so we've got a Bowl-orama, which will help to sponsor. It's a non-for-profit organization, and it's coming up March 20th, my anniversary. I'll be spending my anniversary on the bowling alley.
Well, you got married in a bowling alley, so you can...
Exactly. So it's really a terrific event. It is something that I'm proud of. We have a fake Elvis, if we want to say that, Elvis impersonator. We've got a band. We've got raffles, bowling, pizza, and it's just a terrific time for everybody.
Where's the bowling alley located?
It's in East Northport, maybe 10 miles from my house. It's on Lockfield Road, and it's an old school one. It's not one of these ones. I don't know if what you've got in California. You probably do have these bowling alleys that have really blown up with the disco music or whatever the music is, and the lights flashing and all that. This is everything old is new again style. It's old school. You rent the shoes, you go to the alley, and you bowl. And they've got some music blasting, let's say, from the radio, but that's about it. It's real old school.
I don't know about you, but I love the smell of a bowling alley, an old bowling alley. When you walk in, now California, you can't smoke in any buildings. I don't know how it is in New York, but you can't smoke inside anymore. But some of these buildings that have been around for 50, 60 years, you walk in there, and it's just, it's ingrained in the ceilings and the walls. I love that smell.
I also love you walk in, it's a tile floor, and it's sticky from something from 1972.
And it's kind of dark, I mean, our bowling alley here is very well maintained. It's you would call it an old school bowling alley. They have what they call cosmic bowling on Friday or Saturday nights at like 9 or 10 o'clock till midnight. They have turn off the lights and the laser show and disco ball and play loud music and kids bowl. And, I can't find my way around, so I don't go to things like that. But anyway, so I just love going to it's hard to find them nowadays, but an old movie theater, too. And you walk in the old movie theater and you smell the musty curtains and, a cigar from 40 years ago. And I just like that stuff.
And what comes along with the old movie theater, though, also is that, if they haven't changed, is that huge screen, which you love,
Yeah.
That's a great way to see a movie.
So
anyway.
Spring training, my good buddy Bill Peterson, who does a financial show here, actually rents part of the building from me, he and his family. He used to actually work for the Giants organization. He started as a bat boy. And then worked his way up in school. I mean, he started in 6th grade, worked all the way through to high school, and after he got out, he got a job with the Giants front office, and then decided that wasn't for him, and went into financial planning. But anyway, he and his family are at spring training in Arizona to see the Giants. And, it is a big thing here because Arizona is not that far from us. So, you can get there in a day or so. And so a lot of people will take their RVs and they'll take the drive. And my
more
kids
and more teams have
there.
gone to Arizona too.
Yeah.
It's got to be at least half the league at this
point.
point.
It's supposed to be really beautiful, and it's like almost like a food court. You can walk from park to park to park to park in certain locations, and the restaurants in between. And I mean, I'm kind of dumbing it down a little bit, but it's very intimate there, very intimate setting. And
that's what I love. When I was a little kid, I used to visit my grandparents in Florida, and one of the highlights was always to go to a spring training game and see, especially when you're a fan or even a new fan of a sport, as a kid, every stat and every player and everything else, and to see them, like you say, in the intimate environment, up close and personal. I got autographs of a lot of the players, and Casey Stengel, believe it or not, who I didn't even know who he was, but I kept the autograph for years on years and finally figured out who he was. And it was just great to be down there. I love it. I also love the idea that this year the Sporting News has predicted the Mets and the Giants will face each other in the National League for the National League pennant, I think.
It is an even year, and in an even year, the Giants win the series on an even year. So we're just. Giants fans, we're just coasting up until the end because we're going to make it. So.
Well, you're going to make it when you hit New York, and we hit some revenge back for 1957, leaving New York. How dare you? And we're going to be putting up our best. Jason DeGrom and Noah Syndergaard, Matt Harvey up against Baumgartner and Cueto. And who's the new guy here? I can't pronounce his name. Samajay, the third pitcher you got?
Yeah, sounds good to me. No.
So it's one of those things also you really can't pay attention until it gets rolling into the season. But
exactly.
I think that's what's going to happen. What I always look forward to, and we did a show on this, is the hot dog still king at the stadium. And to me, I think the real competition is the ballpark food between Citi Field and AT&T. What do you think? You go there? I don't know. Do you do anything with that?
Yeah, I tell you
what. Crazy crab or something?
Yeah, that's a crab. Dungeness crab sandwich. But what the big thing is at AT&T Park, a couple of things. You can go there. There's a steak and chop house there that you can go and eat at during the game and pay $20 for a well drink and enjoy yourself and pay for an overpriced meal. But or you can also go inside the park and have delicious garlic fries.
Interesting. Never had a garlic fry.
Oh, you've never had a garlic fry before?
I've had garlic rings. Are they similar?
No. What it is well, I don't know what a garlic ring is, but they're French fries,
right?
And they're French fries, and then after they come out of the cooker, they mix them in with like a minced garlic and maybe some basil type sauce. Mix it. Put them in a bowl and mix them up, and then give them to you. And so the fries are coated with garlic.
Wow, that's interesting.
I'm gonna send you a box. I'm gonna send you some.
I would love to try it. Absolutely. I think it's tremendous. If you really look around and visit the different stadiums, there are very unique items, food items at each stadium throughout the country. Unfortunately, except for Citi Field, you got hamburgers from the Shake Shack. You've got steak sandwich, and you've got a barbecued spare ribs from some place called the Blue Smoke. But that's basically it. That's really not creative, besides the hot dog, of course. So it's a little disappointing. I think you can beat us in the concessions in terms of the competition.
But what is wrong with that? Seriously, when I go to baseball, I don't buy this crazy stuff here. Okay, I buy a hot dog, and the hot dog is like $10. So it's not because I'm cheap, but well, sort of I am. But I mean, there's nothing like. I like a hot dog with mustard, ketchup. Sorry, folks, onions and relish.
No sauerkraut, no onions, huh?
No. Oh, sure, onions. Sauerkraut, no.
See that? And in New York, we do specialize in the hot dog at the ballpark and the sausage and peppers is a big one.
Yeah, we have something like that at the AT&T Park also.
Yeah, exactly, and of course a nice cold beer. So I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a great turn of events this year. I think the competition is going to be hot and heavy between the two clubs, and I don't know, it should be fun. We'll have a little argument here and there as we go down the line.
I read an article this week that the Steinbrenner family said they will not sell will not sell the Yankees, but they're worth $3.5 billion.
Amazing. He bought it for $100,000, I think, back in '73.
Can you imagine it? $3.5 billion. I don't know how much debt goes with that if they were to sell that, but that's a lot of money.
Like, why would you sell it in some way? I'm no big, huge financial guy. Your fellow that you just mentioned in your office, they could probably answer this better than I can. But if they need money for something, they could borrow against that team and pay it off in no time anyway. So money is no longer an issue, and to own a franchise like that and be able to kind of sort of like play, I don't know if you remember Stratomatic baseball, but play like if we were a kid, it's like the ultimate possession. If you're a fan, you get to, I don't know, it's just tremendous to be able to own a franchise, and it's a dream come true. So I don't think they ever would sell unless they just don't get along anymore.
Here in California, the perception is that the Yankees are like the kind of yuppie hoity-toity team, and that the Mets are the working class, guys that live in the neighborhood type team. Is that true?
That's the perception that I would definitely say in the past was, but the way the money is now, these players they're certainly not living in the neighborhood, and they certainly aren't aware of the fans all that much, I don't think. But that the fans themselves are like that, absolutely. Yankee fans have a little bit of an edge. We've got X amount of championships. I think it's 27, and all this storied history and so forth. The ballpark shows it. The ballpark is very high class and very, every seam is buttoned up properly down to everything that could possibly be built on that place is built beautifully. It's got a huge concourse to walk through and celebrate the history of the team before you even get into the ballpark. And then you've got Citi Field with the Mets, and it's one of these, I don't know if you ever see on TV, I think it's sort of like AT&T. You look up and you see the rafters, you still see the heating and ventilation systems and all of that, so it's not like, it's like almost like a house kind of finished, if that makes any sense. Yeah. You see the beams and so forth. But that's on purpose, of course. It's a new stadium, and it is also beautiful. But it's down to earth, and it's hot dogs and hamburgers, and it's and let's watch some baseball.
Kind of like everything old is new again.
Exactly.
What's up this week?
Well, this week we've reached our 100th show, and we are very thankful for stations like KVGC who are on our affiliate network. We've been growing for the last couple of years and very happy about that. We figured it's time to take a look at the show itself, see what the hosts are all about, because my thought is, yes, everyone wants to hear about the topics, but the topics change every week. So if for some reason you're not familiar with a particular topic that we're examining, I would suggest that you would listen to the show if you have some kind of affinity to either David or myself, or hopefully both of us in some way. But and that's terrific. With the question, sometimes we really focus on the topics a lot, and we'll talk about each other in an ancillary way here and there. But let's go through a little bit of what the history of who we are and why we do this show and what's it all about. So that's what we're going to hit. What about the pop culture has affected us? What's stayed with us? Why do we even care about pop culture so much? We go back to The Odd Couple and Twilight Zone, and as you know, Star Trek and Lost in Space and Monty Python and Abbott Costello and things like that. And I think when you grow up, whatever age you grow up in, there are things that affect you that may even be just like a little beam in the foundation of the house of who you are. But that's always there and always part of you. So we want to see how much affinity and commonality we have with the audience in terms of what we like and what drives us. And also in a fun way. We really do go through it in a fun way to figure out.
Well, did you ever think, you and David, when you were in high school, did you ever think you would? Did you guys ever talk about, we should host a radio show. We should have a show. We should do our own.
We actually thought that we were going to be, we and a couple other fellows who made up what we call the band The News, with a Z, because we were a little bit different, right? We thought that because we were doing Sweet 16 parties, and we were in the junior high schools at the time we were in high school, performing there as a band together, and David Cohen wrote so many terrific originals, believe it or not, and we thought that we had been reviewed in the newspaper and all. We had thought that we were going to be the next big band. And so we always thought that it would be something we would do together, I think. That sort of fell apart when Dave's dad went ahead and told David, no, you're going to college and stop with this band nonsense. And that was the end of that. But then we went to comedy clubs together, and we found and saw so many terrific young comedians come through New York that way, and we both got on stage independently and started doing comedy. We thought maybe we would do that together, and again, reality set in and got in the way for about 30 years, and finally here we are. We're back together, better than ever.
When did you decide you were going to be a lawyer? Was that early in life, late in life?
No, I always thought I was going to do something beyond college. I didn't know why. I always just thought that I wanted to do something intellectual, and I had no idea what that even meant. I was in a doctor's chair at one point, and I was expressing this like maybe the third year in college, an eye doctor, and I was just, I don't know what I'm going to do. And that eye doctor suggested for me, why don't you go to law school? Why don't you try that? And I had never thought about it because in my life growing up, that was sort of unattainable. That was not in my family. We didn't really know any lawyers, didn't know what that was all about. And so it really wasn't, it was like I loved all these TV shows about lawyers back in the day and all, and I thought I always would love to do that, but I put it aside because I said, who does that? I can't do that. I can't even figure out how to get there.
Yeah.
So then at that point, later on in life, it just hit me like, wait a minute, that could be something that I do. So I figured I studied for the LSAT, which is the test you take before you can go into law school, and I basically aced it. I got like a 98 out of 100. So I said, I guess I have some aptitude here. Let me dive in and see what happens. And from that on, it's history.
Do you encourage young people to become lawyers?
I would suggest that if you have I would say this: you've got to have a drive to understand exactly what it is you're getting into, and then an aptitude and a drive to love to do it. My thoughts have changed on this a lot in that, especially since doing Everything Old is New Again, something I've always wanted to do and was the number one thing I wanted to do in my life was a radio show that I really put aside. No one ever said even how a path was to get here. So, but it's my love and my drive, and I put so much time and effort into it, but it's not, as you said, it's not working when it's something you love. So beyond, it's a bigger answer, is beyond saying, hey, be a lawyer or don't be a lawyer, is if that's your dream, then of course go for it. But don't go for it just for the alleged trappings of money and so forth, because there's a dime a dozen, and unless you're really top of the field, it's like any other job, you know?
Oh, listen, I'm going to let you go because we're running out of time here, but I want you to try to watch a new show that I just discovered a couple of days ago. It's on Sundance, okay? I don't know if you get the Sundance channel. It's called Hap and Leonard, okay? Hap and Leonard. Look for that, and then report back to me next week what you think of that show, because you'll be able to see it on demand.
Excellent.
Hap and Leonard on Sundance. So, Douglas Viviani, Everything Old is New Again, tonight at 6, again tomorrow at 6. Go Giants, go Mets, and Yankees, boo.
Let's go Mets.
All right. Thank you, Douglas.